I'm Glenn Fugett, the secondary music coach for Metro Nashville Public Schools. Recently, the Nashville School of the Arts Choir Conservatory presented a virtual concert. The project was a huge success, and to say the least, it was a massive undertaking to produce. It involved not only the work of NSA's great director of choral studies, Mr. Trey Jacobs, but it also involved, in a huge part, the work of the NSA students and parents. So first, I wanted to welcome Mr. Trey Jacobs. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fugett, as well. Appreciate you having us be here to share about this project. I'll introduce the other guests that are here today as well, just so that we know. Absolutely. So we have first our incredible choral booster president extraordinaire, Miss Emily Hawara. And then we have two students that were involved in our project, Kate Johnson and Miles Troxler.
So can you just tell us a little bit about how the project started, the idea? How did this all get in process?
Sure. Well, so as everyone knows, we have been in virtual world since last March, and we attempted and successfully put together a one-song virtual choir piece that we ended the year with in honor of our seniors last year. And so Emily and I conversed from that point on throughout the entire summer about what school was going to look like and what our possibilities were and what we could do and that sort of thing. And there were any number of training sessions that were offered through a couple of choral organizations, and I would send those all to Emily, and then I also sent to Miles as well, because I knew that he was interested in doing some of this as well. And so when we realized that we were going to be virtual in the fall, for the fall, we talked about the fall concert, and I wanted to have sort of a overarching theme for us. And so the theme of what we were working with was really recognizing Black composers, Black arrangers, and that we could share their music. And so every single one of our ensembles I chose music for, and we had rehearsal tracks for them to listen to their part. They were then to, at designated times, submit just an audio recording of them singing their part. And then from that, were then to make a video of them singing with particular parameters. Then that went into a Dropbox, and we had Miles was responsible for doing the audio and video for one of the songs for Paragon, and then Kate did 2 or 3 songs, I think, and then Emily did most all of the video for everything else on the concert. And the other thing that we did that was that I thought would really help sort of propel the concert forward was our new literary arts conservatory director, Caroline Dubois, wrote a script based off of the pieces that we were doing. And then I asked 4 different alumni that are out in the field doing wonderful things if they would agree to present the script leading up to a song, and then talk about their experience of being at Nashville School of the Arts as well. So that's kind of the overarching of it all. And you know, my share of the pie was very simple. Ultimately, well, what these three people have done is all the hard labor and work, and so we need to hear from them because they're the geniuses that really put it all together.
Okay, so Katie and Miles, so when the students recorded themselves, I assume they emailed them to you guys, and then how did it end up in Emily's hands? How did this get coordinated?
So I'll answer that. Sorry. We had kind of a complicated process. We just had a shared Google Drive that we let students have access to upload their folders. We had some trial and error with that process, and we're doing it a little bit differently going forward. But yeah, we're just kind of trying to figure out how to use the technology that we have at our fingertips to make kind of some new projects possible and some new collaboration possible, which I think is really exciting for both our kids and the parents and teachers who are, kind of trying to navigate this whole new world that we're living in. It helps us be able to utilize our resources and get a little creative.
Awesome. Miles, so I understand that there was a simple software that you were using that was downloadable from the internet. Can you tell us what that was and how you utilized that?
So, for audio purposes, this is for like my personal use as well. Any project that I do, I use Logic Pro X, which is I was lucky enough to just get pre-installed on this laptop that I bought, and then I transferred it to my computer that I built. But it costs a few $100 to get it. It's like a pretty high-end software. You can do pretty much. I probably haven't like explored like 20% of what all you can do with it, but it
So that
works.
was that's more involved than I thought. I thought you were going to say something like a free download, like GarageBand or something like that. So you were using professional software, Logic being one.
Well, I'm sure you can do a lot of the same stuff on like a GarageBand type thing. Like I said, I don't know. For a while I was not nearly unlocking all of its capability. I've gotten better at like just really exploring what all it can do. And then for video purposes, I use, again, you could probably do this with iMovie, I don't know, but I use Final Cut Pro. It's a pretty old version of Final Cut Pro. Most people now use Final Cut Pro X or Adobe Premiere, but this is Final Cut Pro 7, which is like, it's about a 10-year-old like software since it was updated, but I like it a lot. It looks, let me see if I can show you. How do I do this? It looks something like this. So this is my, this is like the timeline here. Each one of these are like a person, a clip. Can I show you? It was showing up. There you go. So like this is what all the people look like, and I import them here, and then I can do all this here. And then Logic looks something like that. So I just do the colors for fun, but this is each section organized like the Sopranos. And so I can like mute each section and isolate them just so I can show you like just the bases, or so I can correct things like that. So it's pretty cool. You can do a lot with it.
And Katie, were you familiar with this software when you got started in the project?
Yeah, I use the same.
Very cool. So you two collaborated first on putting all of the files together and getting them uploaded to this software and then starting to mix them? Yes. So Katie, specifically, what was your part of the process?
I basically just, when all the videos are kind of uploaded, I just took them and mixed them together and made them sound like a whole instead of a bunch of different separate videos.
Okay. And from start to finish, once the videos got to you, the recordings got to you guys and Emily, how long would you say it took to produce? Once you had them all collected, to put into the software and to mix from start to finish, how long would you say? A month, 5 weeks?
So mine, I only was in charge of Rock of My Soul. That was like the one song that I did the audio and video for, and I was done in like three days, but only like maybe 10 hours of actual work. spread over like 2 days or so. And then the video was a little bit longer just because when I downloaded the video, this might be a problem with my computer rather than the software, but a lot of people recorded in formats that my computer didn't support. So I had to go to the Dropbox and just screen record while I played it from the Google Drive. And that worked for the video. But yeah, it was the main part was downloading everything. And then once I did that, it was a pretty quick process for me, but I only had one song. So
How long, Katie, did you guys work on the music prior to the students starting to record?
We started working on it about the week that school started, so about 7 or 8 weeks.
Oh my gosh. So this was almost a semester long project. Wow.
A quarter
And-
long, yeah, for the quarter.
Okay. All
Yep.
right. So very, very impressive, guys. And I got to see it, and I thought it was amazing, and I shared it with other people, and it's just, I was very proud to see a great product like that come from our community, the Metro Nashville Public Schools. And I also understand that you had another huge kind of success at NSA, some mid-state results that were really positive. Mr. Jacobs, can you tell me about that?
Yeah, sure. So MTVA, which is our component organization here in Middle Tennessee, Tennessee Vocal Association, has their mid-state auditions in the fall, and based off of those auditions determines who makes one of the mid-state choirs, and then from that, the top ranked students for each of those sections will then proceed on to all-state. And so this year was a very different year, of course, as everything has been. And so all of the videos, all the audio was actually submitted virtually. And so we did not have in-person auditions. So each student had to record themselves singing 2 different pieces and upload those into a format called Submittable. And then from that, there were a panel of 5 teacher adjudicators for each section. And I was one of those adjudicators. And so you receive all the files. I adjudicated all the tenors. So there were about 76 files that I had to listen to and score, blind audition, not knowing who those students were or what school they'd gone to or anything like. Even though I had heard every one of my tenors recordings and gone over with them in class, when it came to just one after the next, I could never discern who my students were. So anyway, and from that, then the students were chosen, and it's absolutely an amazing and astonishing feat that for NSA, in a year that we are fully virtual, that I only see my students on a computer screen, that we had 40 students that made mid-state and freshman honors this year. So it's just absolutely incredible.
That is, and it wasn't competing just with schools that were 100% virtual like us. It's my understanding that you were competing against students that were maybe in hybrid situations or maybe even all in person, right?
Correct. Yeah. I think MMPS may be the only district that's in MTVA in Middle Tennessee that was fully virtual. Every other district has been in some hybrid version of in-person and virtual, but and this is what I told my students, all of the other schools had the opportunity of actually working with their teacher in person on their audition stuff, where my students did not have that in this environment. So,
wow, congratulations to the students and to the entire program for the mid-state success, and also Emily and anybody else that was involved in this great project, the virtual concert. Tremendous success. So thank you very much for coming on to this to talk about your events. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for having us. Yep.
Okay, I
And-
just